So a number of weeks ago, Russia held the Victory Day parade in Russia, which is held on May 9th every year, and Serbia was invited to go to Russia. However, the EU made some bold threats towards Serbia about how they should not go to Russia and that they will ban Serbia if the president goes to the Victory Day parade. And it's going to be funny as to see how this unfolds, but I've got some interesting stories here to tell you about what actually happened, what is coming out of the EU, and what does it look like for Serbia, in my opinion. So you're going to want to stay tuned for this video. Now, many of you know where I stand on Serbia joining EU, and I think that's a complete wrong move, in my opinion. Many of you may agree, many of you may not agree, and that's fine. Each of you are entitled to your opinions as to what direction this country should go towards. However, the Serbian president said many months ago that he will be attending the victory parade in Russia, like many other presidents from other countries will be. And, you know, this thing came and went, and they made it a big deal about, planes not being able to fly over certain countries, EU countries specifically, because they wanted to hinder people attending this event here, because in the whole world, Russia bad, and somehow EU and United States is one of the best countries out there. And so this article here by Yahoo News, which came out in April 15th, said EU to ban Serbia if president joins Putin's victory parade. Serbia could be blocked from joining the European Union if the president travels to Russia next month with Vladimir Putin's Victory Day parade. Russia state media reported that Alexander Vučić would be one of the foreign dignitaries in attendance, as well as contributing military hardware to the spectacle on May 9th. In response, European officials warned Mr. Vučić that his visit would be a breach of the bloc's membership criteria and would derail his country's EU ambitions. And, that's fine. Everyone's allowed to issue their own threats. If that's how you want to proceed, that's fine. But for the EU to make such threats is not very democratic, right? If in a democratic society, you're allowed to decide what you want to do in life. And when you start making bold threats like that, it's not very democratic, is it? Now, let's go to the next one here. Vučić meets with Putin. He posted on Instagram, "I am proud to be the president of Serbia." President of Serbia, Alexander Vučić, is in the Russian Federation, where he will attend a military parade to mark Victory Day, after which he will meet with President of Russia, Vladimir Putin. Now, you can say what you want to say about Alexander Vučić, that he's corrupt, he's a criminal, whatever you might want to say, and I'm not going to sit on either side that he's good or bad. I'm going to stay neutral on this subject, because the whole idea of this video is to show how Serbia pretty much gave the middle finger to EU because he ended up going, which in my opinion is something that is good for Serbia, because we have good relations. A lot of our gas that we get in Serbia is coming from Russia. We don't get anything from the EU. I believe it's 80% of the gas that we get is from Russia, and they just struck another deal for the next 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. During his stay in Moscow, meetings are planned with the President of the People's Republic of China, Xi Jinping, as well as the President of the Republic of Kazakhstan. As a part of the visit to the Russian Federation, Mr. Vučić will also meet with Patriarch of Moscow and all Russia, His Holiness Mr. Kirill, and on that occasion present him with the Order of Republic of Serbia on a ribbon. And it was a great event to see. If you have not seen it, check it out on YouTube. It's all over YouTube. And so after that event finished. The EU has come to Serbia a couple days ago here in May. So they came on May 22nd, had a meeting in Belgrade, and they said that the EU foreign policy chief calls on Serbia to make a strategic choice between West and East. Again, this is not very democratic. It's funny how that you want us to join, but we have to do it under your rules. And that we're not allowed to be friends with anyone else, even though that EU is technically pretty new in relationship wise when it comes to what Russia and Serbia have from back in the day. And so you're saying we can't be friends with our old friends because you, as the new bully on the block, think that we should be with you and that it's the right choice. And if you listen to the speech, it sounds like a kindergarten teacher actually giving a lecture to a toddler as to how they should perform here. And it's pretty much a disgrace if you ask me. I'll just quickly read a little blip of this article here. I'll leave all 3 articles in the description of this video. The European Union's top foreign policy official said Thursday that membership candidate Serbia faces a strategic choice of direction just weeks after Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić defied EU warnings and attended the Russian Victory Day parade in Moscow. It's funny how they state defied as if he did something wrong. If you're going to already smack my hand for doing something before I even join your little group of people, what is the incentive, right? To me, joining the EU is like going to a party that, started at 6 o'clock p.m., or call it 9 o'clock p.m., and you're showing up at, 3 o'clock a.m., when all the music is bad, all the people have left, all the food has been eaten, and all the drinks have been drunk, and you're just left with water, right? There's no incentive anymore to join the EU. And if you look at other countries, they are now looking to leave the EU as well because of the rules that they're implementing on some countries here and what they're doing to some countries. And why would we want to donate to some of these countries, to essentially France and Germany, and give them a membership fee when this is the type of relationship that they're looking to have, and they're already giving us warnings as to who we should be dealing with. I'm sorry, but we also have relationships with China. We have relationships with many other countries. And, Serbia is always a country that remained neutral. And now you're trying to push us into one way or another. And for me, I would say, hey, listen, it's best to stay neutral. Let's be able to be friends with all the countries out there in the world, not just be part of the EU and have to deal with their regulatory nonsense. And of course, once you join the EU, everything's going to skyrocket, and prices, you can only be limited to work with countries that are part of the EU. You can't start making your own decisions and economic choices as Serbia has done currently and in the past. I believe if it's not neutral and you actually had to pick a choice, I would always side with Russia. Join the BRICS, because if you look at the BRICS nations, which is not as much in the news anymore, especially since President Trump has come in with his tariffs and whatnot. Maybe things are trying to change there, but I would say, hey, check out the BRICS. You already have a relationship with Russia. You already have a relationship with China, which are the 2 other big players other than the United States. I would say, hey, listen, what country out there in the world has done better for Serbia out of all these countries? Was it Germany? No, they came down here in World War II and we had to put an end to that with Russia. What about United States? No, they actually bombed us not too long ago. How did Russia help us in the past? Well, we're still working with them. They helped us out in World War II. How did China help us? Have they done good or bad to us? Well, if you look at it, they're sending a lot of workers here. They're building a lot of roads. They're building a lot of tunnels. They're building the railway systems here. They're contributing large investments into Serbia. I think that we're going to want to work with people that actually want to have a business relationship, and that's something how I work in my life. Is I would rather work with someone who wants to have a relationship and do something beneficial in life and as a goal, rather than someone who wants to sit there and strong arm me. If we can have a win-win outcome, that is something that I'm looking for, not only for me as a business, but as for a Serbia as a country. But if I have to go where it's a win-lose situation, yeah, no thanks. That's not something that I want to be part of. So I'd love to ask the viewers out there, what is your thought when it comes to the West or the East, or should Serbia just remain neutral? And why would you think that? And what are your thoughts behind it? And I'm not talking about simply Aleksandar Vučić. I know how many people talk about Vučić here, that, you know, he's bad or whatever it is. I'm not talking about that. I'm just simply talking about Serbia as a country. Maybe one day I'll be running for president and I'll get voted in, and I'll make that move myself as to what direction Serbia should move into. I did have someone recently reach out to me and say, hey, listen, have you ever thought about being the foreign policy maker for Serbia, or foreign relationships, politician in Serbia? And I says, you know what, if someone ever reached out to me, let's see what involves. You never know where life leads you. You never know who comes knocking at your door and what opportunities are presented in life. I hope that you enjoyed this video and you got some info as to what Serbia's stance is and how we actually operate, and what the news are, and how the EU likes to alter countries' perspectives and ideas and change and direction. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.